All right. So, I am Amber Jones Dawson. I am a psychotherapist. I have a master's in social work, and I'm also a licensed clinical social worker. I work currently a um, for a company that provides psychotherapy to Fortune 500 companies in tech. And then I also have my private practice where I see mostly women of color dealing with some of the issues that were described just a few minutes ago. And I've been doing this work for almost a decade. So what we can expect today is I'm going to play some games with you guys. We're going to do a little bit of art therapy. We're going to learn some relaxation techniques. And I'm definitely going to need some group participation in today's presentation. So just giving you guys a heads up that I'm going to want a lot of interaction from you guys, especially because I can't see you compared to in the previous workshops, I was the one that actually was in person with a lot of the participants. So today's presentation is about managing toxic stress and its impact on the body. So the first way that I want you guys to interact with me is I want you guys to give me a thumbs up if you've ever experienced stress in your life. Okay, a lot of thumbs going up. That means that you are going to be able to take away something from this presentation. All right, so let's get into the agenda. So by the end of today's presentation, you're going to be able to understand the causes and effects of stress. You are going to be able to identify resilience in responding to stress. You will have tools to manage stress, and you will also change your perspective of stress. So let's first discuss what is toxic stress. Toxic stress is what the young people call it. I have a lot of Gen Z clients. What the young people call when life keeps lifing. It's when you're hit with one thing after the other and you can't catch a break. When I think about toxic stress, I think about the movie Straw that just recently came out on Netflix with the actress Taraji P. Henson. And it was just, she just couldn't catch a break when it came to life. It was just one thing after the other, like a domino effect type of thing. So I would say like an example of toxic stress might be the IRS begins to garnish your wages. And then after the wages are garnished, you are short in paying your car note. And so then after that, because you're short paying your car note, your car gets repossessed. And then after your car gets repossessed, you now have issues getting to work on time. And so because you're having these issues, you keep getting write-ups, and the write-ups lead to you being fired. And then after you're fired from the job, you don't have the money to be able to pay for your mortgage or your rent. And then you get an eviction notice. So this is kind of an example of toxic stress, just the domino effect of adversity after adversity. Toxic stress is also known as, or can be explained as a prolonged adversity. So it might not be multiple things like what I just described, but one thing that you're dealing with for a long period of time. So maybe you're going through a really nasty or volatile divorce. It could also be maybe you're dealing with being a caregiver for a family member that has a terminal illness, which we know that can last for a long time, or that has a very, very severe disability, or even dealing with a partner that has been without a job and they're not able to work, and you are carrying that burden and trying to pick up the slack for a long periods of time. These are all examples of toxic stress. So we're going to play a game. With this game, I'm going to test how well you were paying attention to the difference between what toxic stress is and what stress is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a scenario. And in the scenario, I'm going to say, is this toxic stress? Yes or no? If you think it is toxic stress, you're going to chat. You're going to write in the chat, yes. If you feel like it's not toxic stress, you're going to write in the chat, no. Okay, so let's get our game started. All right, so a child acting up in daycare. Is this toxic stress? Yes or no? Let's get some of these responses going. Oh, we got a lot of responses. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Let me see. We have mostly no's. Okay, so let's see if we got this correct. Let's go to the answer. Uh-oh. Let's get it done. The answer is no. So if you put no, you are correct. This is not toxic stress. I said a child is acting up in daycare. I didn't say how long. I didn't say it was for a prolonged amount of time. I just said a child is acting up, which means that probably means it was not that long of a period. Okay, let's go to the next one. Dealing with a problem child every day. Okay, so I want to know from you guys, is this toxic stress? Yes or no? Kind of gave the answer away earlier. I see yes, 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 yes. Ooh, you guys are catching on. Okay, so let's see if you got this right. Um, the answer is yes. That is toxic stress. The key word was every day. It's continuous. That's what toxic stress is. This is a continual thing that goes over and over and over. That stressor just continues for a longer periods of time. All right, let's go to the next question. The daycare is short-staffed for the week. Is this toxic stress? Yes or no? See what you guys say for the answer. I'm seeing a little mix, some yes, some no's. This is good. I wanted to give you guys a little bit, make you guys think a bit for this one. Okay, so it's a mix. It looks like it's a mix. So this was meant to stump you a little bit. All right, so the answer for this is actually no. This is no because it's a week. That is not a prolonged amount of time. That's not significant enough for that to be considered toxic stress. It just means you had a stressful week, but you're not going into toxic stress quite yet. So let's do another scenario. The daycare is short-staffed for months and you're wearing multiple hats, right? So you're dealing with this stressor, it's lasting for months, and you're doing all these other things additional to what your title is or what your responsibilities are. Is this toxic stress? Yes or no? All right. I see yes, mostly yeses. Yes. See a few no's. Yes. Okay. Let's see if you got it right. The answer to that is yes. This is considered toxic stress because of the amount of time and also the wearing the multiple hats. All right, so let's go to the next one. You guys are getting good at this. Your child gets sick. Is this toxic stress? Yes or no? What do we think? Let's see what you guys say. A lot of no's, a lot of no's. Okay. Yeah, mostly no's. Let's see if you guys get this correct. The answer is, someone said no-ish. I like that answer. All right. The answer is no, you are correct. It might feel like toxic stress, but that is not toxic stress if your child gets sick. Now, if your child has a terminal illness, yes, that would be toxic stress. Like if your child had cancer or a really, really severe illness for an extended amount of time. Yeah, that would be a yes. But just getting sick, no, that's not toxic stress. All right, let's go into the next one. Caring for a parent with a severe disability or terminal illness. Is this toxic stress? Yes or no? All right. Oh, this is a mix. I'm seeing yes. Oh, mostly yes. Okay. Mostly yes. Yes. Someone said yes and no. I think some people chose that also in the in-person workshops because they said, well, if you really care about your parent, that doesn't feel like toxic stress. If you really love them, it doesn't feel like toxic stress. And that's great. That person probably might have a lot of resilience and stamina, but we will see whether or not this is considered toxic stress. So the answer is yes, this is considered toxic stress. I spoke about this earlier. You're dealing with a parent with a severe terminal illness that takes, and you're the caregiver. So that's day and night. You're taking care of them, waking up, taking them to hospital visits, right? Making sure they take their medication, all the different things that come with that, while still working. And if you're married or if you have kids, you're doing all of that. So all of that's what makes it toxic stress. The juggling of all of that, plus this huge responsibility. All right, this is how I got the group in person. Let's see if you guys get this right. Family members arguing at one event. Is this toxic stress? Yes or no? Ooh, I like this one. Okay. I'm seeing no's, some yeses. This is very mixed, very mixed. This is what I wanted. Okay, yes and no's. Yeah, it looks like it's really even down the middle. So let's see if you guys got it right that said yes, or got it wrong that said yes. The answer is no. This is not toxic stress. Even though family can be a lot, I get it. I get it. My family can be a lot as well. But I said one event, one event. That's not toxic stress. You might feel very stressful, but it's not toxic stress. I do remember at the last workshop, someone brought up, well, then what if there was a fight that broke out or someone started shooting? That will be considered like a trauma, but that's not toxic stress. Remember, toxic stress specifically is prolonged adversity. It lasts for a significant amount of time. So that's why that wouldn't be toxic stress either. All right, so this is kind of going to give away the answer. Constantly mediating family drama and fights. Constantly. Is this toxic stress? Yes or no? Let's see what you guys said. I think I went to the answer too quickly. But everyone said yes. Yes, yes, yes. That is toxic stress because it's constant. It's happening for a long periods of time. Okay, so that is why it is toxic stress. Wow, you guys did an amazing job. Very good. Thank you for your participation as well. Okay, so let's get into talking about how our brain and our body responds to stress and the stress hormone that's produced in the body. So what happens is when we are dealing with stress, our brain sends a signal to our body, which then releases from the adrenal glands a stress hormone called cortisol that is released into the bloodstream. And so what this does, it basically allows us to function under a lot of stress or under pressure or in crisis. So if there's ever been a time when there's a lot going on and you're like, oh my gosh, I got all this done. How did I do this? I'm putting out fires here. I'm figuring this out here. I'm multitasking. I'm under a lot of stress, but I'm figuring it all out. That's because that cortisol is being pumped into your bloodstream. Cortisol is also the response when we go into fight or flight mode. So when there is a perceived threat that we feel, or that we might feel like we're in danger, that cortisol is what gets us into that fight or flight response where we're able to immediately jump into action. So cortisol is helpful, right? This is a good thing. Cortisol helps us be effective when we are dealing with stress. The problem is it's when too much cortisol is being produced, and that's what we're going to talk about. So too much cortisol produced over long periods of time is when we start to see issues in the body. This is when you're going to start to see high blood pressure, nerve problems, weight gain, headaches. This means that there's too much cortisol being produced and it's lasting for too long. That's usually a sign when you see your body showing these different issues that you've probably been stressed for a significant amount of time and that you need to make some changes. When cortisol is produced for like long term, like years, you'll start to see it impact the body with more significant such as memory loss, um, digestive problems, cognitive impairments, even dementia or heart disease. They actually have a study showing there's been a link between adults having dementia in old age and experiencing toxic stress throughout their life. So there is a correlation between that. So this is a big deal. When you deal with stress for too long, the body starts to break down. So let's talk about who is impacted the most by toxic stress. Unfortunately, studies show that Black and Brown communities are the most impacted by toxic stress for multiple reasons, such as racism, systemic oppression, as well as like racism and poverty. And so this is why is an issue for these communities. Now I'm going to play a video that talks about what we can begin to do to combat toxic stress. And that's what my presentation is going to focus on in the next couple of slides.
We all want to give our children what they need to grow to their full potential. And as parents, we play an important role in their development. But our parenting is affected by the supports and challenges in our lives, including experiences that cause what's known as toxic stress. Stress is called toxic when it doesn't let up, and there aren't supportive relationships to help us cope. That can make it hard to get through the day, let alone be the best caregivers we can be. The overwhelming burden of toxic stress can affect the health and well being of adults. It can also affect the development of children in ways that can last a lifetime. Stress that puts us in a constant state of fight or flight can make it feel like we're always on edge or like it's impossible to calm down. And these feelings can overload our ability to provide the supportive relationships that children need in order to thrive. Think of toxic stress as heavy cargo. Just as a truck can only haul so much weight before it stops moving forward, challenging life circumstances, like losing a job or not having a place to live, can weigh us down. And just as a truck can break down if it carries too much for too long, we too can wear down from being overburdened without the support we need. Toxic stress is related to things we can't control, like poverty, abuse, or racism. It can feel especially heavy to take on. But experiencing toxic stress doesn't have to determine who we are or how we act. And understanding how stress affects us can empower us to make change in our lives. There are things we can do to buffer ourselves and our children against the effects of even the most intense stress. Just as redistributing cargo from an overloaded truck can help it run again, supports and services, things like food pantries, job training programs, or even just talking with someone who cares, can help us focus on caring for ourselves and our children. And just as regular maintenance is required to keep a truck running, reliable access to community services can help us manage the load during challenging times. Reaching out to get support can be difficult, but things that might seem very small, like sitting and breathing deeply, playing I Spy with your child, or even sharing a walk or a snuggle, can make a difference. Over time, these small steps can build our resilience and our children's by strengthening the skills and relationships that help us cope. And our communities can build resilience too by providing services and opportunities that help all families thrive. Supports like these help build a strong foundation for developing brain architecture. So the earlier we can provide them, the better. But the brain is capable of change throughout life, and it's never too late for a tune up. Coping with and healing from toxic stress takes a lot of effort and support, but we all need the help of others in difficult times. And building resilience and strength in our families and communities is one of the most important investments we can make as a society. In the end, it will help all of us become the parents that we want to be.
Right. So just additionally, I just want to share some statistics on toxic stress and who it impacts. So, as far as chronic diseases, Black adults were found to have a higher rate of hypertension compared to white adults due to toxic stress. And Latino adults have 70% higher chance of having diabetes compared to non-Hispanic whites due to toxic stress. So this is a big issue. This is really, really important that we really take heed to addressing this. So I want to talk about what can we do about toxic stress. The first thing that I want to teach you guys is distress tolerance skills, which is basically what it's saying in the title, how to tolerate distress. This is going to be an important thing that you will be able to apply as a caregiver, as a caretaker for kids in your positions that you guys do and the roles that you guys do. So the first thing is understanding the difference between an emotional crisis and a emergency. That's the first thing. When you're dealing with a stressor, you need to figure out, is this an emergency, which is something that I need to address immediately and needs my urgent attention, or this is an emotional crisis? Because if you're able to decide or decipher between the two, you will be able to determine what needs your immediate attention and be able to multitask better and get done whatever you need to get done at the daycare and make sure the kids get picked up on time and put out any fires that are already happening at the daycare for the day. So first, you decide, okay, I'm dealing with the stressor. Is this an emergency or is this an emotional crisis? So an emergency would be you get a call that your child got hurt at school, or someone that is close to you got in a car accident, or maybe you find out that like something happened with someone was rushed to the hospital. These are all things that are emergencies that you have to jump into action and go do something to address it. Whereas an emotional crisis is more so something that's happening, but it doesn't need your immediate attention. It might feel like it, but it's something that's already happened. It's nothing you can do about it. So that might mean someone has passed away, a family member has passed away, or someone is you get served divorce papers, or you find out a partner's cheating, or maybe you find out that your spouse has lost their job. These are all things that you can't do anything about, right? It's already happened. And so you trying to figure that out and do whatever it is that you're doing at in your role at the daycare, it's just going to be too much. And that's what will cause you to feel overwhelmed or have like a mental breakdown. So understanding the difference between the two will help you be able to juggle and prioritize. Okay, let me handle what I need to handle first, which is taking care of the kids, figuring out, what needs to be done at the daycare or dealing with the stressors in front of me. And then I'll deal with my emotional crisis later. So the steps to dealing with an emotional crisis is the following. You first recognize that you're in a crisis. So you already have recognized this is an emotional crisis. This is not an emergency. And then you're going to stop yourselves from making a rush decision or acting impulsively. So for those of you who are used to being superwoman or superman and you're used to just jumping into action, you're not going to do that because you're like, this is emotional crisis. I'm not going to spring into action because I know that this is something that I can deal with later. The second thing you're going to do is pace breathing to slow down your heart rate and calm your nervous system so that you can function under this pressure, so that you can be effective and do what you need to do to get through the day. This also, in doing this type of exercise, is going to help reduce some of that cortisol being produced, right, into that bloodstream. And if you do this constantly when you're dealing with a crisis, this will help with the long-term effects that cortisol can have on the body. So the way that you do your pace breathing, and I want you guys to do this with me, is you're going to take your right hand, you're going to put it over your chest, and then you're going to take your left hand, you're going to put it on your lower stomach. And I hope you guys are doing this with me and not just watching me. And what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and you're just going to be with yourself for a moment, just erasing all of your thoughts about what's going on, the emotional crisis that's happening, all the things that you want to do or you're worrying about or if that you're feeling. And you're just going to be with yourself for a moment. Noticing the weight of your hand on your chest and the weight of your hand on your stomach. And you're just going to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You're just going to notice your chest rising as you take that inhale. And then you're going to notice your chest lowering as you take that exhale. And then you're going to take a deep breath in and you're going to hold it for 5 seconds. So let's take that deep breath. Let's hold it for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's slowly release out of our mouth. Good. Take another deep breath in. Hold it for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly release out of your mouth. Now on your next breath, you're going to hold it again. But this time you're going to sigh it out. Like you're just letting go of everything you're holding on to, everything you're upset about, worried about, thinking about with this emotional crisis. So let's hold it for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I want you to sigh it out with a right? So that sound should come out when you do it. That you're kind of letting it go, like okay. Let's do that one more time. Hold it for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and sigh it out. Okay, so after doing that, you should feel a little bit of relief, a little bit of relaxation in your body. This is helping your muscles go from a state of being contracted and them helping them release. And so after you do that, you're going to close your eyes and you're going to think about that situation that you're dealing with, whatever that emotional crisis is. And you're going to picture yourself putting that in a box. You're going to create a box and you're going to close it. And then you're going to put that situation on a shelf. And you're going to make plans to come back to it later and unpack it. Okay? So this is for an emotional crisis, not an emergency. Someone's rushed to the hospital, you're going. You get a call about your child, you're going. This is not for that. This is for an emotional crisis. When something has already happened, there's nothing you can do about it. That's when you do this. And this is going to help you be able to navigate multiple stressors at the same time. I can be able to deal with what's going on in my personal life while still being effective at work, dealing with the stressors at work. Okay. So that's the first way that we're going to learn how to combat toxic stress. The key part of this exercise is you have to come back to it. Okay. You have to come back to it. A lot of us will have an emotional crisis, a trauma, a loss, and then we just forget about it. I'll put it in the box, I'll come back to it. And you never come back to it. It is a key thing that you come back to it, because when you don't come back to it, it still comes back to haunt you. You still end up having issues in your body. So when you avoid dealing with an emotional crisis and you don't address those emotions, like talking to a friend or a counselor or a therapist, whatever it is, or journaling about it or sitting with it, you still can have issues with your body. So some of these issues that show up when you don't address different emotional crises in your life is you can feel numb, you can have back pain, you can have difficulty sleeping, you can have nightmares, headaches, irritability, or even anger. So if you can relate to any of these things where you're like, oh, that's me, or I have those issues, there's probably an emotional crisis in your life or an issue in your life that you're not addressing, you're not dealing with. So just take note of that. Like, okay, I need to get back to that because Amber, the therapist, told me if I'm having issues like that, that means it's something that I need to address and I need to not suppress it or ignore it. Another reason why it's important that we address our emotions is because when we block ourselves from experiencing negative emotions like guilt, shame, or anger, it prevents us from experiencing positive emotions. So when this happens, we kind of live life on what I call autopilot, where you're just kind of going through the motions of life, but you're not feeling, you're not living. Like you're there, but you're not really there. You're not really present. So when there's events going on in your life, accomplishments with your kids, or memories that you're a part of, you're not able to enjoy it because you're trying to avoid these hard emotions, these uncomfortable emotions, but it's blocking you from actually experiencing positive emotions too. So this is why you got to go back to that box, unpack it, deal with it, examine it, process it. Okay. All right. So this is the art therapy component. I told you guys that we're doing some art therapy. So you will need to grab in a minute some paper and some colors to do this activity. I'm going to teach you a mindfulness exercise, which is basically kind of what I spoke about earlier about learning how to be present. Mindfulness is just learning how to be present, to be in the moment, to be able to just pay attention to what's happening in the now instead of the stressor that you're worried about or the toxic stress in your life or the emotional crisis in your life, to just kind of just be, to be still. So I want to give you guys about 2 to 3 minutes to grab something to write with and something to write with and write on. So you can use colors, color pencils, markers. If you don't have that, pencils or a pen, but go ahead and grab that. And then Caleb will begin playing some music after that 2 or 3 minutes that I'm going to walk you through a guided imagery exercise. And then we're going to draw at the end of that. Kayla, can you go ahead and start playing the music, please?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you might have to stop sharing.
Oh, okay. We did say that. Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. Guys, about 1 more minute to grab those supplies. If you have your supplies ready to go, just give me a thumbs up. I know how many people are ready to go. Nice. It's like quite a bit. Okay, you guys grabbed it real quick. So what I want you guys to do is put those materials to the side, and I'm going to walk you through a guided imagery. And then we're gonna do the art piece at the end. So what I want you to do is you're gonna close your eyes. I want you to get in a comfortable position, your back straight, head forward, palms facing upward, resting on your thigh. And you're gonna do that breathing I taught you earlier, where you're just gonna begin breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. As you continue breathing slowly, today we're going to think about our favorite place to go. And as we think about this, you're going to continue breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, your eyes closed. I want you to think of your favorite place to go. We want you to be very, very selective, very intentional about this place that you identify. It can be anywhere. Be outside, be inside, be near us, far away. It could be somewhere you've been only once, or someplace you want to go, like Spain, or Paris, or New York. It can be as simple as your bedroom, or a park. Mine's at the beach. I want you to really think about your favorite place to go. I want you to really focus on picturing that place as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. I want you to tell me, what does this place look like? Think about that. What do you notice about it? Does it have certain sounds? A quiet place? A loud place? Just picture all of this as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. What's the weather like? Cool place, perfect California weather, 75 degrees, a nice breeze. Is it a humid place? How it feels in Florida, parts of the Caribbean. Or is it a cold place? Is it nice and chilly where you have to bundle up? Continue thinking about this place. Your eyes closed, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Noticing the smells there as you think about this place. What would you be doing there? Who will be there with you? You think about all those things. focus on everything that you notice about this place. As you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now I want you to focus on how this place makes you feel. Make you feel happy? Does it make you feel excited? Something else. Really think about how this place makes you feel as you continue breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. I want you to bring up that happy place again. And I want you to take one more look at it while you're keeping your eyes closed. Just take one look at it. Just take a mental picture of all the details of this place, all the things you notice, all the things I described to you. Knowing that you can go back to this place at any point. You're having a bad day, whether it's regular stress or toxic stress. Go to this place at any time. Put on some music, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. This can be your escape. Just instantly transport yourself to this place whenever you need to. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take a few minutes and I want you to draw this place on the paper in front of you. And then after you finish drawing, I want you guys to tell me in the group chat what it was that you drew as your happy place. For the sake of time, you guys, I would love for you to share with me what you started drawing. You might not be done, but just share with me in your chat what your happy place was so that I can read it out to the rest of the group. The beach. Nice. The beach. I have a few beaches. Ooh, St. Lucia. Someone travels. Nice. We have a lot of beaches. Ooh, Cancun. Yeah, that's on my list. The spa, nice. San Diego, watching the sunset, beautiful. Disneyland, Jamaica, Hawaii, my bedroom, my mother's house, Mexico, the beach in Italy, seeing my daughter. Nice. Death Valley, Aruba Beach, Hawaii, Paris. Oh my goodness, you guys have amazing, happy places. Well, for the sake of time, we won't be able to draw the whole thing, but please do this in your personal time. Oh, I see some more. The park, the roller skating on the beach, a house by the lake. Ooh, they're coming in so fast. Ensenada. Great. These are all great places. So go ahead and the lakefront. Let's see when this is lakefront. So what I want you guys to do is continue this on your own. Just draw it. This is just going to be a reminder for you that whenever you need to, you can go to your happy place, whenever you're stressed. So Kayla, if you can stop the music, and I'm going to go back to sharing so I can finish my presentation. All right, you guys. And I apologize. I've been speaking too fast. I was told by the interpreter I need to slow down. Sorry, I'm just so excited. And you guys have been so great in your participation. I feel like I'm talking to you guys. And so when I talk, I just start talking fast. Okay, so I will slow down the rest of the way. Okay, so now we get into some therapy, which is called cognitive behavioral therapy skills. What this basically is a type of therapy that is used for people that have anxiety and depression. It's very helpful for people dealing with stress because what this intervention that I'm going to teach you talks about is how to focus on things that you can change and that you can control instead of the things that you can't change and you can't control. Because I find that people tend to be anxious or stressed out over things that they can't change or they can't control, which are a lot of times stressors, right? And so this is teaching you how to shift your energy to things that you can control, that you can change. So the exercise is called What's in My Control versus What's Out of My Control. So this is going to be a video that I'm going to show breaking down how to do, how to implement this as an exercise that you do to manage your stress. Ooh, here we go.
An 18th century Mother Goose nursery rhyme says, "For every evil under the sun, there is a remedy, or there is none. If there be one, try and find it. If there be none, never mind it." A simple way to visualize our circumstances is through a circle of control. Think about a recent time when you experienced stress. What factors were in your control and could be placed inside the circle? Which were not in your control and belong outside of the circle? For example, when you experience stressful traffic conditions, can you control other drivers, the posted speed limit, the weather, construction projects? What can you control? Perhaps how early you leave your house, how you respond to careless drivers, and your thoughts about the situation. When you find yourself experiencing stress, imagine a circle and place your circumstances inside or outside of the circle of control. Practicing this exercise reorients our perspective toward focusing on what's inside the circle, our own thoughts, attitudes, behaviors, and responses. Our time and energy are best spent on what we can control. And when we're faced with something stressful that's outside of the circle, we can heed the Mother Goose's advice and never mind it.
Okay. So we're going to create our own circle of control by identifying what are things that we can control and change about the stressors in our life. So I've already identified things that tend to be stressors. It's very general, but I think most of us can relate to this, as far as things that stress us out, in our life. So I put my partner, my finances, family, the economy, the social political climate, past mistakes, the future, death, other people's decisions, and work environment. So this is on the things I can't control side, because all of these things are things that are out of our control. Even though we might feel like we can control it, we can't. And so what we're going to do together is come up with things that we can do that are in our control in relation to these stressors. So the first thing that I came up with for things that we can control or change is budgeting my money and saving. So I would match that to stressors such as finances, the economy, and maybe the future. I'll also put another thing that's in our control is creating multiple streams of income. Again, that would be related to if you have stressors around finances, the economy, or the future. So I want to open up the chat for you guys to share with me anything that you can think of for things that you can control related to finances. Like if you have stressors around finances, the economy, or the future. So share your ideas with me. I'm seeing healthy eating. That's a good one. I think that could go with maybe what would that go with? Healthy eating. Yeah, I mean, I think it goes with all of them. Oh, people said my spending, starting to budget, spending habits. Those are good. Limit your spending, budget control. Yeah, these are all great. Your physical health, going to the gym, good. Saving, staying healthy. Yes, these are things that you can control. Great job, guys. All right, I'm going to give you some more ideas that I came up with. The next one that I came up with was prioritizing myself and my mental health. Some of you guys kind of already said that, working out, going to the gym. So I would say prioritizing myself and mental health would definitely go with my work environment. It can even be like related to my partner, like maybe my partner has mental health issues or there's stressors in relationship issues with my partner or my family. That's in my control. I can't change my family, can't change my partner, but I can prioritize my mental health and myself and taking care of myself. Setting boundaries definitely would go with family or work environment. These are all things that are things that you can control. What about for you guys? What would you say for like issues in your relationship or with your family? What would you say are some examples of what are things that you can control or change? Saying no, that's actually one of the ones that I have. Yeah, saying no is a good one. Saying no to anything that hurts or drain your energy. Uh-oh, it's getting. Ooh, I'm seeing my response. That's a good one. Yes, the way that they think. Think that's more so us out of your control. Ignoring some family members. That's a good one. My kindness. Oh, I love that. Great examples. I'm just being mindful of the time. Have some other things. Someone already said saying no, so we know that. That can go with family, saying no to family, work environment, your partner. I think also saying no is for those of you that might be people pleasers or thinking that you are a superwoman and you can do everything. This is important to implement that. That's what's in your control. Everyone wanting something from you, everyone pulling from you, your kids, your family, your partner. Saying no, setting boundaries, asking for Well, we'll put that later. I was gonna put asking for help. Practicing self-care, all the things that we've been doing as part of self-care. Let's see, we can think of any more. That asking for help, that would definitely relate to family, maybe even the work environment if you have a lot on your plate. This is my favorite one. It's actually something that I have to work on, managing my expectations of myself. So this is for you guys that are perfectionists, recognizing I can't do everything. And I have to give myself grace and show myself self-compassion and not try to take on too much. Really taking time to assess my capability and my capacity before I say yes to things or volunteer for things. Lastly is managing my expectations of myself. Oh, wait, I already said that. Hold on. I think the last one is my thoughts, my response, and how I manage my stress, which is what we've been talking about today. And this relates to all the things, to the future, to the economy, social political climate. One of the ones I like for the social political climate that we came up with at the in-person workshop was leaning on my community, whatever that community is, whether it's a cultural community, a religious community, like really finding support through my community. That's what's in your control about the social political climate, right? So being in spaces where you feel seen, where you feel supported, where you feel that your values align. That's very helpful as well, dealing with what's going on in our country. So in a nutshell, we have learned how important coping mechanisms are. I've shared so many of them throughout the session, but I just want to kind of review really quick that taking time to rest, recharge, and reset creates resilience to the effects of stress on your body. And this is just a little bit of a flyer that I like to use with my clients of different ideas or ways to practice different coping mechanisms. So you can take a screenshot of it, write down some ones that stick out to you, whatever it is that you want to do. But this is important. Coping mechanisms is very, very key to combating toxic stress. Okay, so continue to prioritize that in your life. This is the last thing that we are doing. Self-care. I want to know, how are you filling your cup? So I would love for you guys to share with me ways that you practice self-care. Self-care can be as fancy as going to a spa or as simple as taking some me time, watching your favorite movie, eating your favorite flavor of ice cream. It doesn't have to be traveling to Bali, okay? It can be very simple. For my single moms that I see in therapy, I always encourage them to do 1 hour a week of self-care time. So that is what I'm giving you guys as a homework assignment moving forward. Your therapy homework is to do at least one hour of of self-care a week. Okay, so I'm reading the things that you guys do for self-care. I'm seeing massages, seeing pedicures, I'm seeing watching TV, I'm seeing dancing, I'm seeing going to the spa. These are all great. You guys have really great self-care. Playing the piano, nice. Driving to Yosemite Park, doing puzzles, swimming, hiking. Dinner with friends, that's one of mine too. Netflix, facials, Disneyland, that's one of my favorite things to do as well. Shopping, coffee with the sun coming up, watching the sun come up, speaking with a good friend. These are all great. You guys have great self-care strategies. So continue to do that for yourself. So we are out of time. I just want to wrap up everything. Our takeaway from today is we're going to prioritize what stressors need immediate attention instead of trying to address them all at once. So remember, you identify is this an emergency or is this an emotional crisis? And then you act accordingly and you go through those steps we talked about. It's important that we experience our emotions. We don't avoid them. Self-care is a way to recharge the body when it's stressed. And we need to learn to let go of things you can't change or control. Remember from that circle, those things we can't change or control, and focus on what you can change. And then lastly, when we do not, toxic stress without coping mechanisms actually can be detrimental to our health. Okay, so that is my time. I thank you guys so much. Sorry for the alarm. I was trying to keep track of my presentation. If you want to contact me, if you have any questions, you can follow me on Instagram. I have my business website up as well as my email. Just take a screenshot of it if you want to keep in contact with me. I thank you guys so, so much. Sorry I couldn't read all of you guys's comments, but it was great. You guys were an awesome group. Thank you so much.